Welcome. Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to Kamloops ESS. We're so happy to have you as part of our team.
Thank you for joining the Kamloops Emergency Support Services team. We made this video to welcome you. Some new recruits will have the opportunity for a guided tour through the activated reception center, but that can sometimes be difficult to coordinate and time just right. Our hope is that this video prepares you for what to expect as you begin in your volunteer role.
Hi, my name is Pauline. I am the Kamloops Emergency Support Services Director. I thank you for joining the team. We look forward to working with you, whether you are volunteering in documentation, logistics, meet and greet, or registration and referrals. Every member plays a vital role in assisting evacuees. When you first join Emergency Support Services, it can be overwhelming, and we encourage you to ask questions. If you aren't sure who to ask, just ask anyone that's around with a blue shirt on.
Emergency Support Services, usually referred to as ESS, is a provincial government program. The City of Kamloops and its volunteers deliver services to the public in an emergency. This program could not be run without the hard work and dedication of volunteers like yourself. Volunteering is the backbone of our community and contributes to a healthy, positive, and caring city. We hope your experience with ESS is rewarding and a fulfilling one. When people are evacuated, sometimes they are given very little notice. It can be a very distressing time for many. Here is a typical path for an evacuee, although there are always variations to this. After they've evacuated, they make their way to the reception center. They may have registered online or even through the BC Services app, but this is not a requirement. Once at the reception center, they speak to someone on our meet and greet team who is able to further direct them. If the evacuee needs any support, such as shelter, food, or clothing, the volunteer will fill out a chit to obtain their basic contact information, and then they will place the chit in the queue. The evacuee can wait on site, or they can await a phone call off-site. A registration and referrals volunteer contacts them or meets with them to assess their specific needs, then provides them some referrals to meet those needs. This is often paperwork that they will need to pick up. Just like in an emergency operations center, you'll see many different colored vests worn by people in a reception center. This is because they are designated to specific roles. In a situation where we're assisting with emergencies, it is crucial that everyone has a clearly defined role and that every person knows who they report to. While we're all a team and work together for the same goals, understanding our roles and responsibilities and staying focused on what is designated as our own, we are efficient in what we do in providing service. For this reason, it is important for every volunteer to know who they report to about any questions or concerns. If the supervisor doesn't have the answer, it is their responsibility to seek out the appropriate resolution and report back to you. It will be the supervisor's job to report any relevant communications to their supervisor, and so on. This is a well-established chain of reporting. It helps to avoid any miscommunications in our reception center. If you are ever unsure who you report to, please ask. Here is an illustration that gives you an approximate idea of the usual setup of our reception center. There are variations to the setup, but this should give you a general idea. Generally, the registration and referrals volunteers are at the center of the room, and they each have their own laptop and workstation. Almost all of the registration and referrals interviews are conducted over the phone with evacuees that may or may not be waiting inside the building, in the meet and greet area, or out in the parking lot, or sometimes off-site. Usually circulating the room and on the move are the supervisors. They wear pink vests, which is something specific to the Kamloops team. Registration and referrals volunteers will raise their pink flower that's at their workstation when they have a question for a supervisor. When you enter the space, the logistics team is often to your left. They wear the yellow vests. This team of volunteers are almost always on the phone to suppliers, such as hotels and restaurants. It's really important to be quiet around their table. Just inside the room is the volunteer management table, where you must sign in at the beginning of your shift and sign out at the end of your shift. It's also where the chits from downstairs are delivered to, and where completed and assembled packages ready for evacuees go, so someone can run them down to the meet and greet volunteers. Somewhere in the room, there is a small workstation for the reception center manager who's on shift. They wear a green vest. Only supervisors report to the reception center manager and communicate questions with them. Usually towards the back of the room, or somewhere around the perimeter, is the documentation team. They receive the incoming chits, confirm evacuation statuses, and manage the workflow for the registration and referrals volunteers. Somewhere on site, there will be a City of Kamloops employee or employees. The role of the city staff is to work with the ESS management team to understand the challenges and needs on site, and to work with the Emergency Operations Center, various city departments, community agencies, and Emergency Management Climate Readiness to get necessary resources to better support the volunteers and evacuees. Downstairs, out of this room, there are meet and greet volunteers and their supervisors, along with some runners. You may also notice some volunteers wearing orange vests. This simply means that they are part of the operations of the reception center. Somewhere in between the two different spaces is a volunteer break room. This is where volunteers eat their meals and where they can take their breaks. Volunteers should not eat snacks or food in front of evacuees at their workstation. Volunteers that are on a break should wear a cover-up of some sort so that evacuees cannot identify them. We certainly don't expect you to remember all the names of these people or what every color of vest means before your first shift, but we hope this gives you a starting point for when you first begin. Let's take a moment to identify some of the people in the room in this photo from August 2023's Reception Center activation. Can you spot the two supervisors? They are the ones in the pink vests. They are here and here. Can you spot the reception center manager? She's in the green vest, right here. Documentation wears regular blue shirts, but you'll know who they are because of where their workstation is. Right here, we have our Emergency Support Services Director. You may notice a couple of orange vests in the photo, simply to indicate they are part of the operations of the reception center. Here are a few photos of the volunteer management station set up just inside the doors. This is where you sign in and sign out at the beginning and end of each of your shifts, and check in with the volunteer management supervisor regarding any allergies you might have. Here are just a few different examples of how we've set up the reception center in years past. And here are some of our volunteers active in their roles. There are a number of agencies or organizations that can be part of the reception center or just outside its doors. Let's talk about some of those. You'll often see some people in purple shirts circulating amongst the evacuees or sometimes inside the reception center. These are members of the Disaster Psychosocial Team. Sometimes we refer to them as DPS or even the purple shirt people. They are a group of professionals with expertise in mental health and psychosocial support. They are amazingly supportive to both evacuees and volunteers. When you see them on site, know that you can approach them for assistance. St. John Ambulance volunteers are available on site to administer first aid to anyone who needs it. They are situated with the Meet and Greet volunteers. Service BC employees may sometimes be on site to assist evacuees with registering through the BC Services app. Sometimes you might see Service Canada employees on site to assist. You may see Samaritan's Purse. They are an international crisis response team who are deployed to many places around the world. They can be seen helping in a variety of roles. For example, they may be tasked to manage the group lodging site, which can sometimes be located in the same building as the reception center. Sometimes the SPCA sets up outside the reception center to assist evacuees with anything they need for pet supports. Salvation Army sometimes is on site for food services, and there certainly are many more agencies that may be on site as well. We always want emergency support services to be a safe place for evacuees to go and a positive working environment for all our volunteers. So we strive to be a team that promotes professionalism. Please treat volunteering as you would in any other workplace professional setting. When you're talking to an evacuee or about an evacuee, always do your best to step away from others so it's not possible for your conversation to be overheard. People's names, birth dates, and addresses, and so on, are sensitive pieces of information that we handle, so we need to protect everyone's privacy. This can sometimes be challenging in a building that is open for the general public's use. Inquire with your supervisor if there is a quiet space set aside for situations when someone needs a separate space away from others. Any information you learn while on shift with ESS, whether it's from a fellow volunteer, management, or evacuees, must not be shared with others. We are trusted to handle information in a confidential manner. If you have any questions about this in any situation, please do ask. Whether it's someone asking about how many evacuees we've had, or if their family member has checked in with us, there are appropriate protocols to follow in each situation. Please be mindful that we are working with all members of the public, and some people need extra supports, patience, or adaptations when at the reception center. Not everyone deals with stress or trauma in the same ways. For example, we know that in British Columbia, many Indigenous people suffered traumatic pasts and that generational traumas exist in today's world. Because there is always diversity in who comes through the reception center doors, we can often make accommodations as needed so that everyone can receive what they need. A few examples of this include access to a First Nations cultural navigator, face-to-face registration and referrals interview instead of on the phone. We can lend a City of Kamloops cell phone, or we can read someone's printed referrals to them. There are many options. Always keep the evacuee's needs the center of your focus in what you're doing while on shift. For the most part, you'll be working alongside others in whatever role you're doing in the reception center. If you need to go outside of the reception center, such as to the parking lot, to talk or to deliver something to an evacuee, always go in pairs. It's important that safety is paramount when on shift with ESS. When you're walking to your car at night, for example, you should ask a member of the on-site security team to walk with you instead of going alone. We encourage all volunteers to create a volunteer go bag that includes your blue ESS shirt, ID, and name tag, along with any other personal items you might want during a long or unexpected shift. Maybe snacks, candy, a cell phone charger, headache medication, face mask, change of clothes, and so on. As responders in emergencies, it's important that we ourselves are ready. Personal preparedness is heavily promoted and encouraged to the general public by Prepared BC. So if we want to be equipped to help others, planning ahead is important. When you have a moment, visit the Prepared BC website to look at their list of suggested items, such as an emergency kit for you and your household, along with what to put in go bags. Each person's preferences and needs vary. Do consider writing down your friends' and family's phone numbers on paper and including them in your go bag. It is fairly common for people's cell phone batteries to run out of power very quickly during emergencies, and many people do not have phone numbers committed to memory. Once you know the volunteer coordinator's phone number, it's a good idea to program it into your phone, noting that it's an ESS phone number. Know that if someone is phoning you from the team and asking you if you can work a shift, they're likely calling a number of people and need to work as quickly as they can. You'll be briefed on whatever the incident is once you arrive at the reception center or wherever you are required. If your first shift is at MacArthur Island Sports Center, a common place where we host our reception center, please be sure to park in the designated area. On the map, you'll notice there is a purple dot, and that is where the volunteers and staff of the MacArthur Island Sports Center park. Please use that back entrance, and you'll notice there is a red dot. That is typically where evacuees or members of the general public will park. Don't forget to display your ESS parking pass. As soon as you arrive at the reception center, your first task is to sign in on the sign-in sheet. It's always located by the main door as soon as you enter the registration and referrals area, the main hub of the reception center, often upstairs from the meet and greet area. Fill in the required information. This is important to do at the beginning and end of each shift. The management team needs to know exactly how many people are on shift at all times. It needs to be noted for work-safe reasons, and we need to know how many people to order food for meals. Also, be sure to connect with the volunteer coordinator at the beginning of your shift if you have any food allergies. After signing in and taking care of any of your personal needs, report to your supervisor for a briefing when they are available, or review the relevant briefing sheet. Be sure you understand the notes and don't be afraid to ask questions if you need clarification. Take a scan of the room to gain some situational awareness, such as any important notes posted around the room, which supervisors are on shift or workspaces available, and so on. The ESS team uses a platform called Better Impact for their scheduling. This is a website that you log into and input when you are not available. This saves the volunteer coordinator time when they need to get through phoning a list of volunteers to come in and do a shift. ESS holds monthly meetings that we encourage volunteers to attend. It's a chance to learn about new information, updates, or changes. Sometimes there are training sessions or guest presenters. Plus, it's a great time to interact with your fellow volunteers outside of an activation. Meetings are usually held on a Wednesday evening, but do not occur if we are running an active reception center. Our Kamloops ESS team has developed our own in-house training program and offers these periodically throughout the year. If you'd like to sign up for one of these courses, get in touch with someone on the management team for upcoming dates. Also, if you'd like to learn more information about emergency support services related topics, you can visit the JIBC website, as there are some courses that are free for ESS responders. Some simply require approval upon registering. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. We hope that it gave you a sense of what to expect when volunteering with ESS. You can review this video at any time you want a refresher. Please keep an eye on your email inbox for any training opportunities that might arise, and note the date of our monthly meetings. We'd love to see you there. Don't forget to input your availability into Better Impact, and you're welcome to drop us a line anytime to let us know you've completed all your requirements and are ready to begin. You can always get in touch with any questions too at essvolunteer@kamloops.ca. Thanks again, and welcome to the team.